My name is Mark Duffield. I'm Professor of Development Politics and Director of the Global Insecurities Centre in the School of Sociology, Politics and International Studies, or SPACE.
My name is Nada Ghandour and I'm a PhD candidate in SPACE. My PhD looks at non-violent resistance against the Israeli occupation, and I'm interested specifically at how unarmed Palestinians and Israelis try to defy sophisticated mechanisms of population management. For example, I'm interested at actions like weekly demonstrations against the wall and the Freedom Flotilla that tried to break the siege on Gaza. Rather than an effort to advocate a right or wrong way to resist, I'm trying to understand and problematize the politics that are behind these resistant actions.
Working with PhD students can be very exciting and fruitful, especially when there's an overlap of some form in the kind of research that you're doing. The thing I like about Nada's work was the spatial element to it, the architectural form of control, management that one can see in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the use of walls, the use of physical structures.
First of all, I'm a Palestinian myself. During my undergraduate studies in Beirut, I started visiting the Palestinian refugee camps there, and I was very struck by the living conditions under which they were living. So it was a life-changing experience for me. The architectures of control, such as fences and walls, that we see in this conflict act as a way of policing circulation, have become an emerging global phenomenon, and they have proliferated in very different environments.
This ties in with my interest in urban fragmentation, the polarisation between public and private space, and in this current research, the meaning of the fortified aid compound. The aid compound as a form of architecture of aid, if there is such a thing. And I think it's those synergies between our work which I find really interesting. I learn a lot from Nada, the fact that she's able to visit places that I can't go to and see things that I can't see. The other thing that's coming out is that the trend towards the bunkerisation of aid in many areas of the developing world can't be separated from the global trend towards the fragmentation of the urban environment and the appearance of so-called gated communities, which is now a global phenomenon. I think the thing that unifies the global and the individual level, I think, is this shift towards resilience. Resilience is being embraced as the latest buzzword, but we have to set it in context. Resilience seems to rear its head when all other forms of social protection that we took for granted are being stripped away, and people are expected to be increasingly resilient in the modern world because they're increasingly on their own. I'm not sure whether that's an intrinsic attribute of the external world or whether it's actually something that's emerging politically, that it's a process of the political decisions that are being taken at many different levels.